In Kazehaya High School, a second-year high schooler named Naoto Hachioji goes to the library to do his homework in peace. However, he finds a group of girls chatting in the library, much to his horror. Unable to concentrate because of, well, 4 girls chatting, his bag gets dropped to the floor. One of the girls finds the pages of a manga he drew. The girls then start mocking him, except for a girl named Hayase Nagatoro. When the other girls leave, she introduces herself as a first-year student, thus calling him her senpai. She starts reading his manga out loud and deduces that the manga protagonist is based on himself. She proves that he's not as brave as his character. This pushes Naoto over the edge, and he starts crying. Surprised by the sudden situation, Nagatoro wipes his tears with her handkerchief and leaves it with him as a gift. The next day, Nagatoro approaches Senpai when he's entering the art club room. He returns her laundered handkerchief. She enters the room and pushes him to draw her. She also promises to give him a secret prize if he manages to draw her properly. Once the drawing is finished, she asks him to close his eyes. However, contrary to his expectations, she gives him a flick on the nose. She starts laughing at him for expecting a kiss, and he starts crying again. She wipes his tears again with her handkerchief. On their way home, she asks him out only to tease him again. She asks him why he never gets angry, to which he replies that he's been accustomed to this lifestyle while admitting he likes talking with her. Nagatoro storms into the art club room with a hula hoop. She asks Naoto to join her. However, when he tries to join her by bending, he accidentally sees her panties. This makes her embarrassed and she starts hitting him with the hula hoop. Later, Nagatoro catches Naoto newly bought erotic vampire manga and teases him trying to read something like this, but she ends up liking it when she reads it for herself. She jumps up on him, pretending to be a vampire, but her right hand accidentally lands on his crotch, making things awkward yet again. On their way back home, Nagatoro breaks the silence and starts teasing him for getting aroused. The next day, Nagatoro proposes to play a game. The game is that a person has to poke the other person's nipples from over their clothes. He agrees upon hearing about the prize, which is a ticket that the winner can use to make the loser do anything. She correctly predicts the location of Naoto's nipples and pokes them. When it's Naoto's turn to poke her nipples, she gets flustered and runs away, making an excuse that she has to go meet her friends. Afterward, he goes to his family's restaurant to work on his manga. However, Nagatoro, Sakura, and 2 boys arrive at the same place. Naoto watches from afar and notices that he's the only one Nagatoro bullies. Walking back home, Nagatoro approaches him and starts being her usual self. Nagatoro offers Senpai to model for him, but he refuses. She starts stripping, which makes him panic. However, she reveals a swimming suit underneath and starts teasing him like she usually does. Naoto and Nagatoro get caught in the rain. They find a gazebo and decide to wait out the rain. She asks him not to look at her since her uniform has become see-through. Thinking that she's teasing him like last time, he looks back at her, but contrary to his expectations, she doesn't have anything underneath except her corset. Eventually, she invites him over to her place and suggests that they play a video game. When they start playing, Naoto starts beating her with his skills as revenge for her teasing him earlier. This provokes her to tease him to win the game again and again. Before going back home, Naoto admits that he had fun playing games with her. The next day, Senpai is unable to find any empty seats in the dining hall and is forced to sit with Nagatoro and her friends. Nagatoro introduces him as her boyfriend, to which her friends start bullying him. Nagatoro defends him from their bullying, which causes him to declare out loud that he and Nagato aren't dating. Later, Nagatoro tries teaching Senpai to give a smack on the shoulder to the ones who try to bully him. However, he accidentally smacks her oppai, causing both of them to fluster. She turns this into a teasing session by saying that he touched her oppai on purpose. Naoto is washing his hands after doing an oil painting when Nagatoro approaches him, who has spilled the juice on her hands. She starts stroking his hands evilly, causing him to run away in embarrassment. The next day, Senpai's eating his lunch in the art room, alone. Gomo-chan and Yoshi storm into the room and start teasing him. They force him to touch Gomo-chan's oppai. Afterward, Gomo-chan tells him that the one thing he touched was an anpan. However, they run away the moment Nagatoro arrives. She laughs out loud after hearing everything and then stuffs a regular anpan and a premium one underneath her shirt. She then asks Naoto to guess. The premium one falls out and he starts squeezing her oppai, thinking it's the premium anpan. Opening his eyes, he finds a flustered Nagatoro who starts hitting him repeatedly. The following afternoon, Nagatoro drags a sofa into the art club room to help Senpai. She asks him to compliment her, but when he starts complimenting her, she ends up blushing. When it comes to Nagatoro's turn to compliment, she can't find anything to give him compliments for. On the other hand, Naoto is unable to draw her because of her constant teasing. but as she falls asleep, he finally manages to do an extremely accurate drawing of her. After seeing it, she asks him to close his eyes. Once he opens his eyes, he realizes that he had kissed a toy. Nagatoro again teases him for getting his hopes high, but also admits that she likes the drawing. Nagatoro has a nightmare in which Senpai ignores her and spends time with Gamo-chan and Yoshi. When she wakes up, she notices that she's been covered by a blanket. Nagatoro ends up complimenting Senpai for not being gross today. Nagatoro shows Senpai a video of sheep getting sheared and offers to give him a haircut. He's skeptical at first, but agrees eventually. Suddenly, she receives a call from Gamo-chan and decides to leave. The moment Nagatoro steps out, Gamo-chan and Yoshi try to shave Senpai's head. He continues to hold them off till a furious Nagatoro appears, making Gamo-chan and Yoshi both run away. Nagatoro then happily cuts his hair. When walking back home, Nagatoro suggests that they should have shaved ice, but the place Nagatoro suggests has a long queue. Nagatoro decides that they're going to stand in the queue. Nagatoro's on the verge of a heat stroke when Senpai tracks her away. He brings her a water bottle. When she recovers, she buys convenience store ice cream for both of them as thanks. Nagatoro drinks from Senpai's bottle of tea. They exchange their contacts with each other. She tells him that she will send a cat sticker when he's thinking something lewd. When they part ways, he's about to drink the tea that Nagatoro drank earlier. He thinks of it as an indirect kiss. At this moment, he receives a cat sticker from Nagatoro. He looks back and finds that Nagatoro's looking at him. She then calls him a pervert. Senpai wakes up in a fantasy world and is tasked with defeating the Demon Lord. He's attacked by a giant lizard. He tries to attack it but to no avail. He's eventually saved by Nagatoro. She joins him on his quest. Later on, they're joined by Gamo-chan and Yoshi. When the party reaches the Demon Castle, Nagatoro and her friends reveal themselves to be the Demon Lords. They start making fun of him. Senpai wakes up and realizes that he's been sleeping in the restaurant. He's approached by Nagatoro and her friends. He runs from the place but forgets his notebook at the table. Nagatoro looks inside and finds drawings of Nekotoro. She then decides to keep the book. Nagatoro invites Senpai to go to the beach. Reluctantly, he agrees. After they arrive at the beach, Senpai starts sitting under the shade because he wants to draw. Nagatoro asks him to join them. He refuses and tells her that he has a huge fear of getting sunburned. Nagatoro offers to put sun cream on him. He rejects, saying that it's something that couples do. This irritates her to the point that she rubs the sun cream on his body with her foot. However, they end up having a lot of fun. Later on, Nagatoro asks Senpai on the phone how he feels about going to the beach with them. He admits that it was fun while looking at the sketch he drew earlier. Naoto is waiting for Nagatoro to invite him to the summer festival. However, he doesn't receive any invitation. He decides to go by himself and eventually bumps into Gomo-chan and Yoshi. They tell him that Nagatoro is busy with her club activities. Using the opportunity, they capture him and put a collar around his neck. They also send a photo of the three of them together to Nagatoro, who then rushes to the scene in a fit of jealousy. Gomo-chan challenges her to win Senpai back. During the festival games, Nagatoro points out to Senpai that if there's somewhere he wants to visit with someone, he has to invite that person himself. Nagatoro wins Senpai back, making Gamo-chan and Yoshi leave. Naoto takes Nagatoro to a place where he used to go watch the fireworks as a kid. She starts teasing him that Senpai is trying to get her alone to kiss her. Later on, they realize that it's a makeout spot and both of them run away as soon as they see the couples there kissing. Senpai suggests that they should come next year too, making her happy. While walking home, Senpai sees Nagatoro and her friends sitting under a gazebo. A couple of boys approach the girls and start hitting on them. Senpai notices a boy who keeps trying to put his arm on Nagatoro's shoulder. He gets jealous and finds the courage to go and ask Nagatoro to leave with him. All the other girls leave with Senpai, leaving the other boys in confusion. Nagatoro forces Senpai to exercise after seeing his thin arms. She then sits on him and asks him to hold her for 10 minutes. As someone passes along the corridor, Senpai gets embarrassed and loses his balance. Senpai has been addicted to a game and hasn't studied anything for his midterms. Nagatoro warns him by saying that if he fails, he'll have to be her classmate. However, he thoughtlessly blurts out that it'll be fun having her around. Both of them get embarrassed and Nagatoro starts hitting him while calling him gross. Senpai studies, putting his whole heart into it, and eventually passes the exams. The next day, Nagatoro overhears Senpai with her friends. The discussion between them sounds so suspicious that she bursts inside and realizes that it is a splinter her friends are trying to get out of Senpai's thumb. Feeling frustrated, she takes the tweezers and extracts the splinter herself. Nagatoro challenges Senpai to a rock-paper-scissors game, with the bet is that the loser has to carry the winner's bag. Senpai wins the first round and Nagatoro has to carry his bag. The second and third round goes to Nagatoro. During the third ground, Nagatoro asks Senpai to carry her on his back. Senpai almost drops her, and in an attempt to catch her, he accidentally grabs her butt with both his hands. Nagatoro runs off in sheer embarrassment. Later on, Nagatoro calls Senpai while taking a bath and accidentally turns her video camera on, making both of them get extremely embarrassed. Nagatoro has become obsessed with boxing and asks Senpai to be her sparring partner. They accidentally get too close and hug each other, making both of them embarrassed. Nagatoro tells her friends about this, who then rush to the room to spar with Senpai. Nagatoro asks Senpai to run away. He immediately understands that she's the one who made the mess. Senpai enters the art club room to draw in peace, but it's already been occupied by Nagatoro and her friends. They tell him that their place has been invaded by gaming nerds and Sakura has gone off to break their friendship by flirting with them. Kamo-chan says that she doesn't believe that Senpai is perverted. However, Nagatoro insists that Senpai is hiding dirty books in the room. Both of them make a bet on it. Senpai starts to feel sorry for Nagatoro as she's losing the bet. He then puts the dirty magazine he has in a place for Nagatoro to find. Nagatoro starts teasing him after finding the magazine. Nagatoro gets a new earring and Senpai compliments her. Like usual, Nagatoro starts teasing him again. Sakura arrives late and asks for Senpai's help. She tells that one of the gaming nerds has been stalking her and she needs Naoto to go on a date with her. Senpai agrees, which infuriates Nagatoro. She observes their date from afar. Feeling frustrated at them getting close to each other, she catches the stalker herself and makes him apologize. Later, Nagatoro teases Naoto after his date is over. Nagatoro offers Senpai some steamy snaps. He gets embarrassed thinking that she's talking about her photographs. She later reveals that she was talking about Snap Sizzle Pop chicken bites and teases him for being perverted. Nagatoro starts doing training sessions for Senpai after she realizes that he's a slow runner. The next day, Nagatoro arrives and they start running. Senpai gets tired halfway. She starts degrading him, which makes him angry, and he eventually finishes the 5-kilometer run. Senpai wants to model for his portrait. Nagatoro offers to be a model, but as he doesn't want it to happen, he lies by telling her that it'll require her to wear a catgirl costume. However, he gets surprised when she actually comes wearing the said costume. When Senpai's drawing a portrait of her, Nagatoro asks what his club is going to do for the festival. He tells her that it'll probably be an art exhibit like last year. Senpai hears familiar footsteps getting closer. He asks Nagatoro and her friends to hide. The president of the art club enters the room. When he sees the drawing of Nagatoro in a catgirl costume, she becomes furious that Senpai isn't taking the club seriously. She threatens to terminate the club. Nagatoro comes out from hiding and tells the president that Senpai has been taking the club very seriously. The president then challenges Senpai to beat her in the upcoming art exhibit this year. If Senpai wins, the president will not terminate the club. Senpai states that there's 0% chance of him winning against the president. He shows Nagatoro and her friends the painting that the president did last year. It's a nude painting of the president. Nagatoro teases Senpai for keeping something like this, but he insists that he only thinks of it as a piece of art. Nagatoro offers to model, but he refuses. Nagatoro's friends point out that the president's opai are much bigger than Nagatoro's. Senpai defends her by saying that she has her points. Even after trying to draw her paintings for a long time, he's unable to make a good one. Senpai decides that he's not going to draw her, because if he loses by any chance, it'll put the humiliation on her too. The president has divided the room so that she can focus on her painting properly. The president visits and tells Senpai that he's not going to win with the art he has drawn. Nagatoro visits but runs away as soon as she sees Senpai and the president. The president advises Senpai to go after her. Senpai chases her to a pool where he asks Nagatoro to model for him. She refuses but gets surprised when he tells her that she's the only one he wants to draw. Both of them fall into the pool. Senpai tells her that she's the cutest when she's her ordinary self. She starts teasing him again. The president visits another student who tells her that they'll make a decision on the day of the event. Senpai has drawn a few paintings of Nagatoro. Upon being asked about the concept, he states it's a day in Nagatoro's life. Nagatoro and her friend sneak to the other part of the room to take a look at the president's paintings. The girls come back with a fainted Nagatoro. Sakura suggests that they need to come up with a plan to win. However, Senpai stops them and tells them that it's a matter between him and Nagatoro. The president tells Senpai that she's not going to hold back against him. He notices a strap with Nagatoro's face on it. He immediately realizes that it's something the girls did. It's the time of the festival, and the girls arrive in cat costumes to promote Senpai's paintings. Senpai gets jealous when Nagatoro teases other guys, while Nagatoro gets jealous when Senpai is admired by other girls. Both of them then take a lunch break and clear the air between themselves. After they return, they find out that the student council isn't letting the president display her paintings as they are, quote, immoral. Senpai intervenes and tells the student council that they should let the president display her art because there are serious admirers of it. Yoshi provides video evidence of this statement. The student council allows the president to display her paintings but disqualifies her from the competition. This makes Senpai the winner and allows the club to remain open. Senpai does another painting of Nagatoro. As a reward, she gives him a kiss on the cheek. And that's the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this, so I'll see you at the next one.